Babylon, why your breathless? Breathing strength, without stress. So show love and fearless. Breathing strength, without stress. Babylon, why your breathless? Breathing strength, without stress. So show love and fearless. Breathing strength, without stress. Them one we just waiting to exhale from slavery. Plenty hostility to make the vice be hazy, to turn the earth into an atmosphere to fear the hemisphere. Babylon, the city of adversity, complex of complexity to make man uneasy, and still continue sequels of unequal daily. Try to make shatter breath mystery so we don't breathe deeply, to have our society full of anxiety. Babylon, why your breathless? Breathing strength, without stress. So show love and fearless. Breathing strength, without stress. Babylon, why your breathless? Breathing strength, without stress. So show love and fearless. Breathing strength, without stress. Once we often puffing with anger and raging, and running out of breath, upset, hyperventilating. Some be gasping for air cause of the press of blood pressure, and those in sufferation feel like they suffocating from economical segregation, strangulation, and all of the force teaching them what in circulation. Situation be causing people heart palpitation. Snake toxic to nature and the nation. Babylon, why your breathless? Breathing strength, without stress. So show love and fearless. Breathing strength, without stress. Babylon, why your breathless? Breathing strength, without stress. So show love and fearless. Breathing strength, without stress. Try put to rest the respiratory system. Uniform brutality, bronchitis, them victim. Them want exit your oxygen from out of existence. Fixated and fantasize about man asphyxiation. Them want asthma, they breath of life just like an infection. And got the air polluted with them wicked intention. Try to panic attack we with trial tribulation. They toxic to nature and the nation. Babylon, why your breathless? Breathing strength, without stress. So show love and fearless. Breathing strength, without stress. Babylon, why your breathless? Breathing strength, without stress. So show love and fearless. Breathing strength, without stress.
Shalom, 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 Mishpachah. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Friday Night Live. Welcome to Friday Night Live. Let us know if you can see our faces clearly and hear our voices. All right. All praises, all praises. Greetings, loved ones, in the name of our King, and welcome back to another Friday Night Live. We say shalom, shalom to each and all, and hope everyone is doing well wherever you are. I see the Mishpachah is coming in very slowly. Very, very slowly. And we are grateful to our Elohim for another opportunity of life to be here with you all. And thanking him for sparing our lives throughout the week and all the different things that we all had to go through. We call it life, day in and day out. And sometimes we're not even sure if we'll see tomorrow. But we are grateful that we are here, and we'll continue our very best to help open the understanding of our people and to bring truth to the public airways, that the world can know that there is truth is still being broadcast, and the world is not the way it used to be. And we're going to see some things tonight, family. See some things tonight. So, welcome back again to the Mishpachah down in the Caribbean. Shalom. Happy Friday Night Live. And to Mishpachah in South and Central America. Shalom, shalom. Right here in these divided states of America, shalom to you all. Mishpachah over in Canada, shalom. In the UK, shalom. In Africa, Europe, the Middle East, the Far East, and every island of the sea, we greet you all by saying shalom, happy Friday Night Live, and good to have you all here with us tonight. And Elder's waiting. We'll get him going with prayer as we all turn to our King for help.
That's right.
To the hills whence cometh our help. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. It is a good thing to give thanks. Holy Father, in the name of our Son, common King, we thank you again for another Friday Night Live. You have protected us during the week. You have blessed us, our families. You have do everything good for us. So, Father, at this time, all of us, as we come together to hear what you are saying to us, we pray that thou may open our ears, our hearts, that the words that we're going to hear will go through our ears and go into our hearts and our mind, that it will never go back out. Be with us throughout the service. Those that are not feeling well, we just remember Brother Eric, that he had worked that wonderful miracle in his life. And also our next brother,
Lamb's Heart.
Brother Lamhat, and others. We pray, Father, that thou may raise each and every one of your children, Israelites, from the four corners, that we all will hear and say, yes, we will do. Bless the word, bless our teacher tonight. Speak to him, through him, for him. Father, and bless him with the words. Allow the words to come out with power. Also, Brother Osha, as he read. And both of them join together to present your words tonight. Father, allow your words, Father, to take full root in our hearts and our mind, that we'll never turn back, but we'll always be there waiting and listen, hungry to hear your words. We love you and we thank you. We ask it all through your Son, Yeshua, we pray. Amen.
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 Hallelujah.
Thank you, Elder. So once again, we're going to continue with this special series, Overlords Part 3. What the scriptures warn us about the evil that men do in this earth and why we need to stay out of this system. There are going to be some very interesting stuff that you're going to see tonight. Some of y'all may be aware of it, but if you haven't, you're going to learn a lot tonight. And you will understand why you are the people of the book even more, because we don't have that kind of power, right, of manipulation, and bribery and all kinds of stuff. We just don't have it. We don't have it at all on a full level. So let's move on, Brother Shay. Let's read Ephesians 5 and verses 11.
The book of Ephesians 5 and verse 11. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them.
That's the letter of Shaul to our brethren, the fellow Israelites over in Ephesus. He says, don't have any fellowship. And fellowship can cover, it's an umbrella that covers many things.
Support.
Where your money's going, who you hang out with, who you buy stuff from, right? That's deal with money. Just the whole, you can put a list together for that.
Time, allegiance.
And the Bible says, the Bible says it's considered to be unfruitful. There's nothing good that's going to come out. There's a passage in the Torah that spoke about two types of trees. One to be saved for the life of a man, and the other one to burn or in a siege. And the enemy will be regarded as the one to burn. Right? Righteousness is the one that will give you life. The Bible says to reprove the works of darkness. So tonight, you're going to learn some things about the works of darkness. All right? So let's get right into it. Pax Judaica. All the king's men. As you can see on the screen right here, you can see Pinky on the brain, right on the bottom. Smooth that mouse around, Brother Shea. Help me out.
Right here.
Thank you. In the middle, you got Bibi, what did I say? The Buju people, the Jubu people.
Bibi the Jubu.
King of the Jubus. Okay, king of the Jubus. And he's controlling Agent 47. And you're going to see that Agent 47 actually has a different title also. And you can see that Agent 47 says, orders executed, master, awaiting further instruction. Right at the right top side. And then below you can see some of the pictures of the people that you know or have seen on the TV. We're going to get our first article to learn a few things here. Let's pull up article number 1. And let us learn some things. Thank you, Sister Batel, for your love. One love to you likewise, sis. And brethren, don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. Love to you all too likewise. Hallelujah. Hello, you looking for some love too? You get love every single day and on the broadcast, on the
Prayer line.
prayer line. So just give me a little bit of love, Elder. Let me get a little taste of that tonight, okay? All praises. All praises. This is from the Jewish Chronicle. From Jared Kushner to Miriam Adelson, who are the Jewish figures in Trump's inner circle? That's the question. So he has an inner circle. That means he got an outer circle. That's the ones that know certain things. But the inner ones, they're the ones that really control a lot of stuff. Now, many of us may think, Brother Yonah, this is not important. Brethren, if you have to really open your eyes to see how vast this thing really, how deep this rabbit hole really goes. And most people who are embedded in sports don't even realize who really controls the sports, why the sports are the way it is, and all the things connected to it. The movies, all entertainment, finances, economics, every single thing that you're distracted with, right, is connected to that same Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 to 4 incident when Yeshua was told by Satan, all these things I will give you if you bow down and worship me.
All these things.
So here's a picture. Scroll up a little bit. And remember we talked about this woman. This is a woman that was born when the country was called Palestine. She is the widow of Israeli billionaire, right? Sheldon Adelson. And she told Trump recently that she can put $250 million, $250 million on the table for him to become president a third time. Wow. That is how much power. And I'm sure that is just from her pocket. That's just crumbs. $500 million. I put it on the table, right? Because you've been a good servant for Israel, for the Israelis. Scroll down. So I want you just to read.
Highlight from here.
Yeah, just read the highlighted sections. And I want you to see the faces as we go through it.
Okay, the highlighted areas. And with his public comments indicating he will be more committed than ever to Israel's security and the safety of American Jews.
Okay, so he's dedicated. Notice he's going to be dedicated, committed, right? Scroll down. Look at the faces. This is Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller.
This one here.
That guy right there. This guy, he is a very interesting character. I don't even want to use the word danger. Russ. Danger and Russ.
Rusty.
But very interesting character. Let us move on, and maybe sometime we'll circle back and cover some things about him. But let's read the highlighted and underlined parts.
Stephen Miller, as Trump's new deputy chief of staff. Stephen Miller.
Now, he served as a hawkish advisor, right? in the first term, but he's back again. Let's read.
Miller, 39, helped shape some of Trump's most controversial actions on immigration, including a travel ban on 7 Muslim-majority countries and a policy to separate the children of undocumented migrants from their parents at the border.
Now, that's not a good thing to do. Why would you want to separate children from their parents?
That's a tactic.
That's a tactic. There's a reason behind doing those things. And when you see there's a travel ban to certain countries, it's to force the countries to comply. Just like with the tariffs, just like with all the things that are happening now. It's designed for results. Those things are designed for results. So we're just skimming through a few things. Remember these people because they're going to always be coming back, okay? Jared Kushner. Scroll down. Let's read.
Look at that guy's head. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, Trump's oldest daughter, Ivanka, who was raised Christian but converted to Orthodox Judaism to marry Jewish businessman Jared Kushner.
All right. Now, we talked about him before with the whole Gaza situation, and we're going to cover a little bit of that again tonight. You're going to see how these people operate, all right? Some really gangster stuff. All right, let's read.
Kushner, who served as a senior advisor in the Trump White House, involved in the Abraham Accords, and now runs a multi-billion-dollar private equity fund bankrolled by the governments of Saudi Arabia,
Imagine that.
the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar.
So that whole Abraham Accord is a business and a political move. It's like a bunch of vultures. You got the big vulture and the little one coming together and say, listen, this is how we're gonna divide up
All the scavengers.
Oh, yeah, how are we going to scavenge things, okay? You might get the meat, I'll get the bone. Okay? Or however things are going to be divvied up, right? But this goes to show, and remember, according to the 911 reports, they were saying that bin Laden's family was one of the, I think he was the top contractor in Saudi Arabia. His family, they build stuff. You can go look at the records. And he came from Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of stuff happening over there, Mishpachah, that will surprise you. And a lot of it also is dealing with the sodomite death style that a lot of people don't know about. So when you're thinking that these people is all about Allah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's much deeper than that. I'm not talking about the people in general, but I'm speaking about those people who actually run the policies and control the governments and so forth. A lot of them are in that type of thing. All right, let us move on. This is David Friedman.
David Friedman, bankruptcy lawyer turned ambassador to Israel during Trump's first term. David Friedman.
All right, scroll down. Let's keep going. This is Steve Witkoff.
Steve Witkoff, Trump's choice for special envoy to the Middle East, has been a long-time ally, real estate investor.
He's a real estate investor. So when you start to look at the players, okay, when you look at, because if you let's say that there's a ship, SS Nowhere. The ship is called SS Nowhere, right? You got to look at who's going to be boarding the ship, who's going to be controlling the ship. And if you don't see a captain, if you don't see, give me some things on the ship, the engine room, the guy whoever, there's a whole list of them, the skipper and everybody else that's in there, shipmates and whatever, right? So if you don't see all the different players in there, you know the ship ain't going nowhere, right? But it needs to have the right crew to run everything. Let's move on.
Engine crew.
We're just warming things up, brethren. We're just trying to set everything up.
The pilot.
Here goes this big head guy, Will Scarf.
Will Scarf to hold the position of the White House staff secretary. Scarf, 38, played a key role as part of Trump's legal team in a federal criminal case tied to the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol.
So we all remember that insurrection that took place
Yeah.
some years ago? All of those things was part of a plan, Mishpachah.
I'm sorry.
This time, we're going to see some things. Just get ready. The gloves are off. Just get ready.
Does this guy look 38 to you?
Let's scroll on down. So he attends Shabbat services at Chabad. Keep that in mind. He attends Shabbat services at Chabad. That name is going to come up again in tonight's class, okay? That's very, very important. And you'll see why. Scroll down. Mark Rowan.
Mark Rowan is one of 2 Jewish billionaires in consideration for the role of Treasury Secretary.
Mm-hmm.
Rowan and his wife donated $1 million to Trump's campaign.
Y'all see that? That's big money.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you just sit down. You got to worry about other bills being, well, if I do this, how am I going to pay my mortgage? You just sit down and say, hey, here you go.
You need what? Here you go.
Here's $1 million. Let's move on. This is Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick, okay?
Lutnick reportedly donated more than $10 million to Trump's campaign.
Y'all see the money's going up?
Engaged in Trump's re-election campaign, took shape in the aftermath of October 7th.
So October 7th was when the so-called thing happened in Israel that they've been crying about. That's basically their second Holocaust.
Yeah.
And because of that, that was an excellent piece or time event. Let me put it this way. It was an event that can be utilized to campaign on and to get the heartstrings, the sympathy of so many people to donate and to bring Trump up and to get a certain agenda off the ground. Okay? It's propaganda.
He had clear moral clarity when it came to Israel.
So this is important because although he is supposed to be, quote unquote, an American, his focus is on Israel. Okay? It's all about the Israelis. Let's move on down. Let's see. And here goes the same woman, Miriam Adelson. Let's read.
Miriam Adelson, Israeli-American businesswoman and addiction doctor. Miriam Adelson has been a major donor to Trump's political campaigns. He awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2018.
Because they paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she's believed to be the richest Israeli in the world.
Y'all see that? The richest Israeli in the world. Skip down. A vocal
supporter of Israel, and said in 2019 that there should be a book of Trump in the Bible.
Read it one more time.
That there should be a book of Trump in the Bible.
She said that there should be another book in the Bible called the Book of Trump. Not the book of Jeremiah. Not just the book of Isaiah. But after Malachi, the book of Trump, because there's not going to be no New Testament, right? You remember these Israelis, right? Y'all see that?
All right.
Did you all know about this?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. You have the Christians want to get rid of the Old Testament, just deal with the New Testament, and Judaism want to get rid of the New Testament, deal with Old Testament. And stick Trump right in the middle.
So, brethren, the word of Elohim has been changing based upon how much money has gone to the right people. And so there may be a recall of all Bibles, and you may have to go out and buy the new Bible, which includes 67 books. We're not even including the Apocrypha in there, but the standard will be 67 books for the Christians. And then for those who have the scriptures of Tanakh, it'll be Tanaxis. the book of Trump. Okay, let's move on. This stuff is crazy. All right, so you saw that, the book of Trump. Boris Epstein.
All the Steins coming out.
Go ahead.
Boris Epstein, Trump's political strategist and attorney Boris Epstein will remain within the president-elect's inner circle.
The president-elect's, he's going to remain in the inner circle.
Referred to as Trump's TV attack dog.
Y'all see that? So everybody has their job to do. You have the ones who put the money in there, the ones who attack other people. You know, everybody got their position to play. Let's move on, and you'll see it's going to get pretty interesting. You got models in this thing, too. Elizabeth Pipko.
Former model Elizabeth Pipko has risen through the ranks to become one of Trump's most vocal young advocates from the Jewish community.
Where did she came from?
Immigrants from Russia.
A family came up from
Mother Russia.
Russia. And you're going to see a lot of connections, family. Keep going. Keep going down. A lot of connections with Russia. Lee Zeldin. Let's read.
Jewish New York Congressman Lee Zeldin to helm the Environmental Protection Agency.
So you got the EPA also in there. EPA, Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have this woman, Laura Loomer. I talked about her before. She's an agitator, right? She will create the bomb and then put it in somebody's hand and say, hey, so-and-so, she will convince that person to go out and run in the street and say, I got a bomb. And she'll stand there and say, you see, I told you those people are bad right over there. Okay.
Far-right political activist and conspiracy theorist. Loomer has worked as a commentator for conservative organizations, including Project Veritas and Alex Jones Infowars.
Now, this makes a lot of sense why all of a sudden there's a war between Alex Jones and Candace Owens. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden he just came out attacking her, as some of y'all may already know. Let's move on. And Candace has been speaking out against the wickedness that's going on. All right, let's close it out. And we're going to look at a short, the video is pretty long, about 30 minutes, but we're going to look at a part of it. This is called Pax Judaica. And let us go. We'll just go for about 10, 12 minutes into this video. So let's listen, and fair use for educational purposes. Let's listen.
You've heard of the Greater Israel Project. You think it's something Israel's still working toward, but you're wrong. The Greater Israel Project is already here. It exists by proxy. What Israel seeks now is far more ambitious. A global empire, not through physical occupation, but through proxy power, surveillance, and artificial intelligence. This is an eschatological endgame. A Jewish empire ruled by the chosen people, born through chaos, justified with prophecy, enforced by data, empowered by an artificial messiah that sees, predicts, and governs human behavior with godlike authority. To some, it's redemption, the long-awaited promise of heaven brought down to earth by human hands. But to others, it's the Antichrist, a dystopian hellscape, a blasphemous kingdom where science becomes sorcery, machines become oracles, and an all-seeing godlike intelligence rules mankind from temples of data, demanding submission, not through faith, but through surveillance. Call it Pax Judaica, or call it the future. Either way, it doesn't need your consent, only your submission. The Pax Romana, or Roman peace, was a long period of relative stability enforced not by harmony, but by dominance. It was peace through power, maintained by military supremacy, centralized authority, and the suppression of rebellion, not the absence of violence. Scholars later used the term Pax to describe similar eras. Pax Britannica, for example, followed Britain's victory over Napoleon and rested on naval dominance and global trade control. And Pax Americana emerged after World War II, shaped by aircraft carriers, missile cruisers, and the petrodollar system. In every case, Pax did not mean an end to conflict. Wars and uprisings continued. What changed was the hierarchy. Authority was settled, and those seeking power or protection orbited themselves around this new political gravity at the center of a new world order. Crucially, Pax periods are never declared in real time. They are recognized in hindsight. Once resistance becomes marginal and competitors accept that victory is no longer possible. Today, some argue a new order is forming, one they call Pax Judaica, an era in which Israel's rivals have been neutralized and its influence consolidated, not only through military outcomes, but through political leverage, lobbying power, blackmail, intelligence dominance, and advanced surveillance. At first glance, this idea seems implausible. Israel is small. It lacks strategic depth. It depends heavily on Western military, economic, and diplomatic support and exists within the framework of the American empire. So how could it possibly function as a global empire, exerting influence far beyond its borders? The answer requires us to rethink what power looks like in the information age. When most people hear the word empire, they imagine vast armies occupying territory, overseas bases spanning continents, massive navies patrolling the globe, and aircraft carriers parked off foreign coasts. In short, hard power. Israel does not fit that traditional image, yet Israel is a formidable military force. It possesses the most powerful military in the Middle East and, according to senior analysts at the Institute for the Study of War, fields the best air force in the world on a pilot-for-pilot basis. It operates advanced naval assets, including nuclear-capable submarines, maintains at least 150 nuclear warheads, making it one of only 9 nuclear-armed states, and fields the densest and most sophisticated air defense network on the planet, rendering it more militarily capable than most states, including many in Western Europe. What Israel lacks is not capability, but scale. It does not have the population, industrial base, resources, or global logistics footprint of traditional empires like the United States, Russia, or China. It does not field aircraft carriers or manufacture the volume of hardware and weaponry required to sustain global conventional dominance on its own. But what if that no longer mattered? What if influence no longer required matching great powers ship for ship or base for base? What if control came not from possessing a global force, but from directing one? What if the key was not actually becoming an empire, but steering one that already exists?
So notice that the parasite goes into the brain. Once the parasite goes into the brain, it can control the body.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And get results from the body. Now, this has been scientifically proven with some molds, I think it is.
And then there's also an insect that does the same thing. I think there's a parasite that goes into that insect. The insect is dead, and it controls the insect and takes it all over the place.
All right, so let's continue.
Israel's power derives less from what it controls within its borders than from the leverage it exercises beyond them through institutions, alliances, intelligence networks, technology, finance, lobbying, blackmail, and propaganda in other countries. In short, Pax Judaica describes an empire made possible by proxy, sustained leverage over existing powers rather than direct occupation. The United States remains the most powerful imperial structure on earth, militarily, financially, and institutionally. But power does not necessarily belong to whoever owns the machine, it belongs to whoever steers it. Over the decades, Israel's Zionist networks in the United States learned how to operate inside the institutions where American interests are interpreted and decisions are made. As a result, Israel does not need to own or command the aircraft carrier if it can shape the conversation that determines where it sails. Therefore, Pax Judaica is not about replacing or equaling American power, but hijacking it, leveraging US resources to advance Israel's own interests and goals. Yet for many, Pax Judaica still sounds implausible, and I think it's because people still don't grasp the extent to which Israel has gained leverage over the American empire. Beneath all the arguments, what this comes down to is one question: does the dog wag the tail, or does the tail wag the dog? Critics of the claim that Israel now steers US power usually argue that the American empire is fragmented, with countless factions competing for influence driven by money, inertia, or careerism, and that pro-Israel networks are merely one player among many. This argument isn't wrong, it just underestimates Zionism. The American empire is not a single actor. It is a sprawling system of institutions organizations where American interests are interpreted and executed by individual people. Most participants inside that system are not playing a long game. They are individuals pursuing funding, prestige, or survival. They rotate in and out. They manage decline. They have momentum, but no destination or long-term goal outside of their own personal interests. Zionism is different. What distinguishes Israel First loyalists is not raw power, but clarity and dedication of mission. Whether secular or religious, Zionists are a collective operating with a coherent long-term objective, assisting one another to attain position in order to achieve that objective. In slow, bloated bureaucracies, the faction that knows exactly what it wants will outperform those that do not. The second argument holds that the United States has always been imperial, long before its relationship with Israel, and that Israel functions merely as a regional asset, a junior partner doing America's dirty work rather than shaping policy. Supporters of this view often cite Joe Biden's remark that if there were not an Israel, we'd have to invent one, or former Secretary of State Alexander Haig's description of Israel as America's largest aircraft carrier that cannot be sunk. In this framework, Israel is a strategic tool, not an independent driver of power. These claims are not false. They're just no longer true. They reflect a Cold War era that no longer exists. The collapse of the Soviet Union removed a peer competitor in the region that backed the pan-Arab movements opposed to Western imperialism. Subsequent wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and Syria destroyed rival states and turned the rest of the region into a network of collaborators. In this environment, the United States no longer depends on a single indispensable enforcer to project power. It has no shortage of partners willing to offer money, diplomatic alignment, intelligence cooperation, basing access, and territory to maintain U.S. dominance. In that context, Israel is no longer uniquely necessary as an unsinkable aircraft carrier, which raises the real question. If the United States no longer needs Israel to project power in the region, why does it insist on continuing to empower Israel over all others? Why tolerate behavior that generates instability, backlash, and regional chaos when there are alternative partners willing to serve U.S. interests and pay for the privilege? This is why the old model breaks down, and the argument shifts from hard power to institutional leverage. On paper, the United States holds enormous leverage over Israel. In theory, this should allow Washington to compel Israeli behavior. In practice, however, across multiple administrations, whether they're Democratic or Republican, it has not been able to restrain or compel Israeli behavior. And it's not because the leverage doesn't exist. It's because the leverage is neutralized from within. This contrast is revealing. In the early 1990s, Israel required U.S. guarantees for a $10 billion loan to absorb Russian immigrants after the Soviet Union collapse. President George H.W. Bush was interested in negotiating a deal between the Israelis and the Palestinians at the time. So President H.W. Bush wanted a guarantee that Israel was not going to use the money that the U.S. was going to help them obtain to expand settlements in the West Bank. So he used his leverage over Israel, drew a hard line, and forced compliance. And it worked. Israel caved, but it was the last time they would ever do so. Fast forward 20 years, and Benjamin Netanyahu standing in front of Congress urging the United States to sabotage its own president and the Iran nuclear agreement in order to satisfy Israel's interests, which ended up happening within just a few years. A decade later, despite Israel's full dependence on American weapons and cover, both Joe Biden and Donald Trump gave it everything it needed to carry out the genocide in Gaza and go to war with Iran. Aircraft carriers were deployed, missile defenses were activated, tens of billions of dollars were spent, all at enormous cost to America's global standing and domestic political support. By any rational measure, this ran against America's interests. Yet it continued. Israel was still dependent on the United States, arguably more than ever. So how did the US go from President Bush demanding Israel cave to his demands to presidents bending over and giving Israel everything it wants? The answer is simple. What changed was Israel's leverage over America's leverage. You see, administrations rotate. Presidents come and go, but Zionist networks with their long-term objectives remain embedded, permanent, shaping narratives and incentives from inside the system. To quote Benjamin Netanyahu from a private conversation recorded over 30 years ago, America is a thing that is easily moved. So the force still moves, the weapons remain American, the sanctions remain American, the flag is still American, but the direction is not. This is what I mean by proxy rule. rule, not by Israel holding the sword of empire, but by dictating where it swings. And that is why Pax Judaica is invisible to those still expecting to see the Jewish empire resemble something like Rome, Britain, or the United States in its traditional form. To put this in pop culture terms, you're searching for the female Titan. What you need to be looking for is Annie. Under Pax Judaica, the empire will still appear American. Power will still seem to flow from Washington, but the real axis of approval, denial, and permission will run through Jerusalem. And by the time history names it in hindsight, it will already be complete. By now, the pattern should be visible. Israel's leverage over US policy isn't always easy to articulate, but it is something that I'm sure you feel, because
Play.
many Americans feel it. That unspoken tension is why a fierce debate now rages on the right between America first and Israel first.
All right, you can stop it there. You can stop it right there, because we're going to go into some other things, which is important. But what we wanted to do tonight, or with this video, was kind of lay things out a little bit, right, of a truth that many people are now awakening to and seeing, that everything has been flowing within a certain direction. And at the end of tonight's broadcast, it will make a lot of sense to you, even more. So let's get that out the way.
And just real quick, Bishop Picard, this is what the Most High is setting up. And what I mean by that is to say, we see the prophecies, and the prophecies say that the Most High, through the Messiah, is supposed to restore the kingdom, but they're trying to force the kingdom by doing it themselves, by bringing a state of Israel, by bringing everything through Israel. So they have the right idea, but they're doing it according to the devil's way, not the Messiah's way,
under the guise of being a chosen people. Right. So the same thing is the same technique that they're using, where they embed themselves into another government, and that the government is acting like America, but it's not America. The brain is being controlled by this small country called the Israelis. The same thing when it comes to religion or being chosen people. They embed themselves in there, but they're not really doing anything that they don't fit the scriptures. So let's move on.
Yes, America is the golem.
This is interesting. This is a parts of some news pieces that I'd like us to take a look at. So this is a picture of, I don't know if you all remember Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, right? So let's read this piece over here.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump paid a personal prayer visit on Monday afternoon to the Ohel in Queens, New York. Ohel in Queens, New York, the resting place of the Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. The Rebbe was born in 1902 in Ukraine.
Where?
Ukraine.
Now this is Chabad. Remember we looked at Chabad? That's going to keep coming up in different places of tonight's broadcast. Now, here's a funny thing, right? When we talk about our Messiah, Yeshua, and things of that nature, they said that's idolatry. We're not supposed to be praying how he's dead and all kinds of stuff. But you have this prayer service that is to a dead rabbi, right? And you see all the prayer papers there at his gravestone. If you look over, can you put the cursor right over here? That's Ben Shapiro. See Ben Shapiro? Anyone knows about him? He's currently the nemesis of Miss Candace Owens. He's right there. So when certain things happen, do this. There you go. When certain things happen, it's not happening by accident. It's by design. Let's read some more. Rabbi
Chaim Kanvinsky of the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community in Israel spoke openly to inform the public of the imminent arrival of the Messiah. Let me read it again. To inform the public of the imminent arrival of the Messiah prior to his death in 2022.
Here you have another Orthodox rabbi said openly he wants to inform the public of the imminent arrival of the Messiah before his death in 2022. Now, we haven't seen it happen. But what is he talking about? Who is this Messiah? Anyway, let's read on the same article.
The same article notes that several rabbis predicted that Benjamin Netanyahu would be the state of Israel's last prime minister prior to the Messianic age approximately a decade ago.
The same article notes that several rabbis predicted that Benjamin Netanyahu would be the state's last prime minister. Now that's interesting, because there were talk about America having the last president. First it was Obama, and then Trump, and so forth. We don't even know if Trump is going to be the last president or not. We really don't know. But to come out and say Netanyahu would be the last prime minister of Israel, something that is very interesting. It says prior to the Messianic age, approximately a decade ago. So when you look at all these things, what it's doing is it is opening our understanding to know that there are lots of movers and shakers for what? A kingdom to come. Whatever's happening right now, Mishpachah, religiously speaking, politically speaking, with the money, everything is about a Messiah that's to come. But the question is, which Messiah they're talking about? Is it the anti-Messiah or is it the real Messiah, according to the scriptures?
We know it's anti-Messiah.
Okay? So here you have Trump praying with his buddies at a gravesite of this rabbi in New York, and these people are expecting a Messiah to return. Netanyahu is predicted to be the last prime minister of Israel, of the Israeli government. And it goes on, because you're going to see stranger things, brethren, tonight. Let's move on. So on this little thing here, this picture here, you can see how Mark Levin calls Trump the first Jewish president. We're going to play a video shortly. You see Trump at the Wailing Wall, and I'm sure in his mind, and many others who go to that wall, they put their hand on the wall, they're pledging allegiance to Israel. We saw the pictures before that when Netanyahu showed up, Trump pulls out the chair and puts him in there, taps him on the back, and said, "Attaboy," right? Trump was invited for the first, from what I understand, he's the first president to ever address the Knesset in Israel. And one of the things that Trump said to the
Audience.
to the people was to pardon Netanyahu. Now that's interesting. The leader of one government is telling the assembly members to pardon the prime minister. That means to say that the people of Israel knows all the dirty stuff that Netanyahu has been pushing. Okay, now let's play that video number 3 so y'all can see on record that Trump is the de facto president of the first Jewish president in America. Okay.
Thank you. We have a man. I have to take a little time. Because every Saturday night, used to be Sunday, then he did so well that they put him on Saturday too, Saturday night. Do you know who I'm talking about? Because there's only one has Saturday and Sunday. And Saturday is considered Death Valley, but it's not death because of ratings. Nobody gets good ratings. Although actually my daughter-in-law is doing well, and you always did well. The great one, Mark Levin. And much more importantly, his much more brilliant wife. Where are you? There you are. Would you come on up here, both of you? Get up here. Get up here. Look, every Saturday, every Sunday, I'm forced to watch television to listen to this guy talk about how frickin' great I am. Because he does like Trump. There's no question about it. Come on up here, Mark. Get up here. Come on up. What a beautiful couple. Did you get lucky? If you weren't a genius, you wouldn't have a wife like this. Marks, say a couple of words. Come in. And these people do like Israel.
Hold on. And he loves Israel too.
It's true.
It's true.
2 seconds. 6 years ago, I was up here, and I said, "This is our first Jewish president." Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you
That's
for
right.
everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged. And we found out, and you see that happening. But
And you are the greatest
thank
president.
you very much.
And God bless you. I miss you. I miss you.
Once again,
Take care of that guy. Take care of that guy.
the first
No,
one,
he's so great. Thank
Jewish
you, Mark, for both being
president.
here.
You can close it out. Take care of that guy, huh? Let's move on. We have more to share with you all tonight. More stuff. Anti-Semitism, a tool for control. This is a question that needs to be looked at. The AI overview says,
Anti-Semitism has historically been used as a tool for political manipulation and social control by tyrannical establishments and movements. This is achieved primarily through scapegoating, the spread of conspiracy theories, and political division during times of social, economic, or political turmoil.
let's read about the weaponization of anti-Semitism. So what we're going to discover is that you can't say anything. You can speak about, as a matter of fact, there was a guy who was on X, right? Also known as what, Twitter? And he was asking certain questions, like he was cussing out Russia, no problem. Like, let's say, for example, should all Arabs be expelled? Nope. Yeah. How many people, agree with that? And you get the numbers and whatever the case may be. He went through a list of different countries or peoples. Blacks. Should blacks be thrown out of the country? A lot of people had said what they had to say. And then when he asked the same question to Jewish people, guess what happened? They stopped him and said this is anti-Semitism. And they specifically highlighted just the Jewish part. Everything else, blacks being kicked out, it was not racist. Everything else was not racist or biased about Muslims or nothing like that. So what he proved was that there is a mechanism that is built to shelter and to protect anyone. It has been weaponized that if you say something, you're going to be censored, removed, you name it. You cannot say anything against the government of Israel at all. They will try to come at you. All right, so let us read, and then we'll look at an article, and then we'll look at a short video.
The exploitation of accusations of anti-Semitism, especially to counter anti-Zionism and criticism of Israel, is sometimes called weaponization of anti-Semitism.
So let's look at this article here, number 4. And we're going to just read a few things from it. This is from Wikipedia. And let's take a look at the history. All right. So in 1943...
In 1943, future Israeli Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion called a British court anti-Semitic after it had implicated Zionist leaders in arms trafficking.
See that? So a British court found that the Zionists were dealing in arms, selling illegal arms. So when you speak out against that, that's called what? Anti-Semitism. Okay? If the Arabs were doing that, they will be called terrorists. But if the Zionist is doing that, that's anti-Semitism. You see how it works, right? Okay.
Yep.
Christopher Sykes said,
The incident began a new phase in Zionist propaganda, in which to be anti-Zionist was to be anti-Semitic.
see that? So you cannot, they have attached themselves. It's almost like there's a saying, you're not supposed to hit a woman, right? So a man decide, you know what, I'm going to grab onto a woman and come right behind her and hold her. So when somebody, this guy goes out and cause some trouble, then he runs behind a woman and holds on to the back of her so no one can actually hit him because the woman has become a sanctuary,
Shield.
a shield, a human shield. Okay, let's scroll on down. In 1989,
Ruben Berg wrote of Matthias and Mick
McCloskey,
the labeling of individuals who disagree with the lobby's positions as anti-Semitic is a common practice among Israeli advocates.
y'all see that? So they started to develop this thing into a weapon. This is the propaganda arm of the Israeli government. Scroll on down, let's see if there's anything else. Okay, that's it. You can close it out. So let's pull up that video. This is from NPR and fair use once again. For the use and the sake of educational purposes. Let's make it a little bit bigger. There you go. So let's take a listen, family. Let's take a listen.
Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then there are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money. And the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country. As you know, they have power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And their attitude is Israel, my country, right or wrong, the identification. And they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitics and to bring up the Holocaust and the suffering of the Jewish people.
6 million
And
Jews.
that justify everything we do to the Palestinians.
Y'all see that? So she said it is a trick. That's whole words. And she's an Israeli. She says it is a trick that they use. Whenever someone criticizes them, this is what they use. Now, brethren, we know that you can criticize all the countries in the world. No problem. From the time you criticize what these people are doing and what they have been doing and what they are doing behind the scenes, now it becomes anti-Semitic. People don't go around and just hate people for hating sake, but it's the works. Remember, the Bible says about the unfruitful works of what? Darkness. So when people are claiming to be chosen, see, that's the problem. If you claim to be wicked, people expect to see wicked fruit. But if you claim to be a good olive tree or a good orange tree or whatever type of tree it is that is supposed to produce fruit, and you've seen all types of arms dealing and sodomite and you name it, everything that is deviant that has been pushed out there, brethren, you say that tree is a wicked tree.
That's right.
You call it for what it is. Now, let's go back to our slides. Let's go back to our slides. All right, anti-Zionist rabbi discusses Palestine. So here you have a rabbi fessing up, confessing all the different things. Let's pull up number 6 and let us take a listen. Again, fair use for educational purposes. It's about 7 minutes long, so it's not going to be that long. But listen carefully. Let's play. So this is a Jewish person. We saw a Jewish person just a while ago. Here's a rabbi that's breaking some things down. So listen.
Rabbi David Feldman, thank you so much for sitting here with us today. And we're filming this interview at a time where student activists across the US are being arrested for their pro-Palestine activism with claims that they're being anti-Semitic. What's your take on all of this?
Well, accusing people who stand up for the oppressed, people who say something when they see crimes taking place, this is not anti-Semitic. You know, doing what's right and speaking up for the oppressed is not anti-Semitic in any way. And most of the time, this is religion is being used into these conversations. They are trying to use religion, some concepts of the Jewish religion, to justify this claim. But what one needs to understand is basically 2 points. First of all, this is not Judaism. According to Judaism, we are forbidden to create this so-called safe haven for the Jewish people. According to the very basics of Judaism, there's a concept of Jewish exile, which is a divine decree, which we are forbidden to end by any physical means, even if we find that this building is a safe haven would be in our favor. According to our religion, this is forbidden. We accept the decree of God, whether it is comfortable or it isn't. We accept the word of God that we should not end this exile by any physical means, and we leave this up to God for Him to end our exile. This is exactly what Judaism teaches us, that it's only God Himself, that will bring the ultimate redemption, where all humanity together will serve the one God in peace and brotherhood.
Y'all hear this? So he is telling, he's speaking the truth with regards to what we have been saying ourselves. That it is the Messiah who has to bring back Israel, the Hebrews, back to the land of promise. And when he does that, there will be peace throughout the world. So how is it possible that you have some people returning back, claiming to be the people that the scriptures talk about, and there's wars and turmoil, and all these different plots and planning and monies going back and forth, and innocent people are dying? That's not according to the scriptures. So we have two different things running, and then who helps to push this narrative that these people are the chosen is the Christian church.
Yeah.
Because in their publications, in their teachings, their preachings, and so forth, Bible studies, they always push this narrative that the Israelis are the people of the book, and the Bible doesn't show that, because the fruits.
Yeah. And if you notice what he said a little earlier, he said they're using the religion. And we know when it comes to our Torah, it's not a religion, that's our way of life. But they have their religion called Judaism, and that's what they've been pushing all this time. Continue?
Yes, continue on.
But Zionists often use religious arguments to justify the existence of Israel. How do you respond to those claims? And also, Zionists equate Judaism together with Zionism. And what's your take on that?
Zionists are conflating Judaism with Zionism because they need Judaism to support their movement of Zionism. But what happens here is something very ironic and very hypocritical. You have a movement of Zionism, which is officially a secular movement. It's not only secular because the founders of Zionism and the people, the Zionists today, are not only secular, they basically, many of them, hate Judaism. They hate God and His religion. For example, I have a friend of mine who grew up in Zionist education, grew up in Jerusalem. And he told me that what he was taught is that we, the Jewish people, have two enemies. Now guess who the two are and who the first is. The first is the religious Jew, and the second is the Arab. Now, both of this is wrong. The religious Jew is basically the Jew, but this is how they hate religion, the Jewish religion, and they hate religious Jews, and which just shows you how far away they are from Judaism. But that movement, the movement of Zionism, who is secular and who refuses to follow Judaism, they misuse this very same religion they refuse to follow, and they misuse it to justify crimes which are forbidden in this very same religion, because killing and stealing, oppressing an entire people, all of this is forbidden in Judaism. And as I said before, the whole concept, the idea of Zionism to build a sovereign homeland for Jews is in total contrast of Judaism. Now, seeing a secular movement misusing the religion doesn't make sense in the first place. But what my response to those people is, we can only explain and educate that while you are misusing the Jewish religion in each and every way is in total contrast to this movement of Zionism.
And when we take a look at what's happening right now, overall in the Middle East with President Trump taking office, he ran as being a president for peace, and he promised that he can bring peace not only to the Middle East, but to Ukraine and many other regions. How is your take on how his administration, their policies have been so far, and do you have hope for peace?
Now, I'm not a politician. Now, I'm not sure exactly what can be done in each and every conflict around the world. But when it comes to Zionism, it comes to Palestine, what we are presenting is, we are presenting the view of Judaism, of our religion. And yes, we do see the approach that our President of the United States has taken. We always say to politicians, we appreciate when politicians or individuals extend the hand for the Jewish people. We definitely appreciate, but we try to educate and to explain that supporting Israel is not in favor of the Jewish people.
And if you notice, he says, our President of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting Israel is doing so much harm to the suffering people of Palestine and so much harm for the Jewish people. We do everything we can to explain, to educate, that Judaism is not Zionism. And I always explain to people, Palestine doesn't want to see Jewish people dead. They don't even want to see all Jews expelled from Palestine. That's not what they are saying. All they want is total freedom for their people and free their land. And we spoke to so many political leaders of the Palestinian groups, so many religious leaders, so many individuals, layman people. Nobody says otherwise. But unfortunately, people following Zionist propaganda are so misled to the point that they even lose their mind to be able to figure out what's in the best interest for themselves. But I'm pleased to see that people are listening. And we do this already for decades, but especially since October 7th, people are opening their minds. And, you know, they see that they have to rethink what they were programmed until now.
Programmed.
And they slowly open their minds. And people who only follow mainstream media or Zionist media.
You see what he said? Mainstream or Zionist media. So when we come out and say that the media is run by a certain group of people, they would say, you're an anti-Semite, right? It's wrong. Here's a Jewish rabbi in New York that is saying that the media is run by Jewish people, Zionists. What are they going to say about that? Play on. Let's finish up.
Generally speaking, they don't have even a chance to interact with any Palestinian or Muslim to have personal experience, which is it's very unfortunate because their information is being built on fabricated propaganda versus facts on the ground.
All right, that's all we need from that. Now, one of the things that one of the king's men, let's go back to our slides and you can go to our next. One of the king's men have said, remember this guy, Stephen Miller, right? He offers a strong man's view of the world. He said that the world must be governed by force. That's his quote, by force, right? This is when the handlers speak. Mr. Miller told Jake Tapper of CNN on Monday during a combative appearance in which he was pressed on Trump's long-held desire to do what? Control Greenland.
Yep.
These are the iron laws. Notice the word iron is in there. That sounds like a Roman thing to me. That doesn't sound like Israelite stuff.
And part of the prophecy too.
Iron laws of the world since the beginning of time, he said. Y'all see that, family?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Check this out, family. Organizers are demanding Palantir drop contracts with ICE and military and Israeli military. So the Israeli military and ICE are working together.
Yep.
Y'all know what's happening in America right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Now, we're going to look at our seventh article. We're going to see the overwatch of the Overlords. Because remember, tonight's broadcast is about the Overlords. And we're going to see how this thing is set up. So let's go to our highlighted areas. Okay, so let's read.
Activists carried banners featuring giant eyes with yellow irises. First, Palantir surveils, then IDF kills. First, Palantir tracks, then ICE attacks.
Okay, let's read the next piece.
Palantir, one of the planet's most advanced data mining companies.
Data mining, all right? That's gathering intel from all your social media, especially your social media. Go ahead.
Advertises that their mission is to ensure America's future on the factory floor, in the operating room, across the battlefield. We build to dominate.
We built to what?
Dominate.
This sounds like watching the Terminator movie. Remember the Terminator movie?
Skynet. Yeah.
Skynet, where Skynet took over everything, and it was designed to kill all human beings.
Yeah, you have Skynet and Terminator. You have the Eagle Eye in that movie, Eagle Eye.
This is the direction that this whole thing is going. Let's read the next piece. Their
CEO brags about how their technology kills people.
Imagine that. Can you imagine that you have a leader of a company bragging about taking the life of people or the lives of people, how their technology kills people? This sounds to me like these people don't have a soul. They don't have a soul, because all you have to do is just look at your loved one and think about how they came up from the womb, had the diapers or Pampers on. They started to learn how to walk, learn how to speak. They were given hugs. There was no evil thoughts and evil behaviors and stuff. Just trying to grow up to be a human being and have a life. And even from that point, you're destroyed, because somebody says that you're not worth living. You're not worth anything. Okay? Keep going down.
To read the red parts or no?
No, that's not. I didn't highlight that. Just read the highlighted part here.
Notable Department of Homeland Security advisor Stephen Miller has over $100 million invested.
100,000.
100,000 invested in the company.
Read it one more time, please.
Notable Department of Homeland Security advisor Stephen Miller.
Remember Stephen Miller? Remember the same Stephen Miller that said how you got to dominate by force? Brethren, he has invested what? $100,000 into the company. So when you see certain policies, when certain policies are being pushed, you got to follow the money, because people are investing because they believe in that thing and they want an outcome. Let's read on. Palantir's.
Palantir's technology is also powering Israeli genocide in Gaza.
Read down. Palantir.
Palantir supplied predictive policing technology, core defense infrastructure, and the AI platform that powers Lavender, Gospel, and Where's Daddy.
Where's Daddy? That's the name of the technology. Read on.
AI's AI platforms that make life and death surveillance and military decisions. Palantir's software mines data from intelligence records. The AI system Lavender and Gospel then spit out lists of 10,000s of targets. Where's Daddy alerts the Israeli occupation force, the IFO, when a target enters their family home.
When a target enters the family home. So where's Daddy? Imagine that there's a thing that targets people and it's called Where's Daddy? You're going home to be a daddy and the thing is targeting you as a daddy to take you out. Right?
Yeah.
Scroll down.
That's it.
That's it? All right, close that out. So you can see how things operate. Let's get the other one, number 8. You see how things operate in this world. This is from the week. The company's data mining tools are used by spies and the military. Are they now being turned on Americans?
What does Palantir do?
All right, let's listen.
Named after the mystical seeing stones in J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings.
All right, let's stop for a moment. Palantir is not just a name that someone just cooked up from nowhere. They actually took the name because when you see certain names being named, it is there for a reason. And there's a history behind the name. If somebody calls a child Satan, for example, you're going to be looking at them like, excuse me? Excuse me, what's the name of your son? His name is Satan, Lucifer. Satan, Lucifer, Franklin. What?
Yes.
You know automatically something is wrong with the father or the mother, right? The mother called his name Satan. The dad calls him Lucifer. So you look at the parents like something is wrong. Because everybody knows where those names came from. What is the end game for those names?
Yep.
So notice that they call this software that targets people. It came from the Lord of the Rings. We're going to come back to that. So scroll on down. Let's see what else we got here. All right, so go back up a little bit. Which agencies work with the company? Let's see. It has helped. Underline.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. It has helped the CDC track diseases.
The IRS.
The IRS sniff out tax cheats. The FDA monitor supply chains, and the Department of Homeland Security chase down drug traffickers. Let me continue reading.
Wired reported.
Wired reported that Palantir engineers are helping build a master database.
A what?
A master database.
A master database
that will draw data from across federal agencies, including the IRS, Social Security Administration, and Health and Human Services, to target undocumented immigrants.
See, you must have a scapegoat first. You need to have the boogeyman first, so the immigrants becomes the boogeyman.
The test, that's the test.
And after it moves from there, it says, you know what? It's working. Let's just put it on everybody. Since it didn't really, because it has run its course. Nobody's protesting against this stuff. The immigrants, everybody wants these immigrants out, so they're not going to say anything until the technology is turned on them. When it's turned on them, because, you know, if you're saying, well, I'm going to cut the toe off of all the immigrants, you can say, it's bad, but they deserve it because they're here illegally. But after all the immigrants' toes are cut, it says, you know what? If you want to be American, you got to get your toe cut too. And you said, excuse me? I thought it was for the immigrants. Yeah, but we want to make sure we want to identify Americans from British, so that every American only has 9 toes. So when you take off your shoes, they say you got 9 toes, you can pass. That's just an example, right? It moves from one to the other. Let's read.
The firm is helping build the infrastructure of the police state.
Y'all see that?
Charged tech investor Paul Graham.
So Paul Graham is confessing that this is becoming a police state. Scroll down. Let's see if there's anything else we need from there. Okay, let's read the underline and then the highlighted part.
That was Palantir Karp, who told Zelensky he could help David to beat a modern-day Goliath.
So Karp, who is the guy of Palantir, said he could help Zelensky fight against Russia. What did he say, Karp?
Karp recently summed up some investors' view of him, raised outside Philadelphia by a far-left Jewish father and black mother.
So Karp is half, well, his mother's black, his father is Jewish. So y'all see this, right? This is background. Scroll down, let's see if there's anything else. I think that's probably it. So let's go to our next piece, because now we're going to look at the background of Palantir. Because remember, they got it from the Lord of the Rings. So Palantir, the name Palantir, let's read.
Divination, the attempt to foretell future events, appears in J.R.R. Tolkien's epic fantasy novel, The Lord of the Rings, mainly in the form of the use of a palantir or of the mirror of Gardriel.
All right, so it is sorcery. Palantir is basically the use of sorcery
Crystal ball.
to foretell future events. So y'all see that. Let's read the next piece.
The Dark Lord Sauron and Denethor, the steward of Gondor, are both deceived through the Palantir.
So people are deceived through what? Palantir. Because they're thinking that they're going to get power from this thing until this thing gets too powerful. This is why must say you are unleashing the beast or the devil. Remember that. So they put this AI stuff out here, they put these technologies here, and then eventually the technology becomes a portal for Satan to come through.
What's very interesting also in that same very movie, that Palantir became the all-seeing eye. I don't know if y'all have seen the movie.
Yes.
Where you see the eye keep moving, and that's the all-seeing eye of Lucifer itself.
So the people are compelled to build this software, this technology. They don't even know where it's coming from, but while they're sleeping, all of a sudden some ideas come to the head. I got this great idea, and who you should contact from MIT and this one and that one, and you put all this team together to build this stuff, and it says, wow, where did you get this idea from? It's working. I don't know, I was sleeping and all of a sudden, it just came to my mind like that. Oh, you're a genius. He's not a genius. The devil spoke to him in the night and gave him all of the blueprint, the information. Hold on to this because I need this to make my full entrance. And while they're building this thing, they're thinking this is going to be helping them for one thing, but all it's doing is setting it up for the devil to come through.
And there's no difference to mirror, mirror on the wall that Disney have.
Exactly.
It's all the same thing.
All right, let's read on.
From here or here?
You can start from there. It doesn't matter.
This is in sharp contrast to Macbeth's actions in Shakespeare's play, where the witches that he consults tell the truth.
So the witches in that play for Macbeth will tell the truth, but Palantir was playing with the people, making them believe what they want to hear, giving them enough information, lying to the people because it had another plan in its mind. All right, let's read that other highlighted part.
Seen objects such as the Palantirs, as in the character Gandalf's words,
quote,
perilous to us all are the devices of an art deeper than we possess ourselves.
All right, let's look at that for a moment. What this is trying to say is that this is so dangerous. Perilous to us all are the devices of an art deeper than we possess ourselves. This is higher than they really understand. This is why people said over and over, but they still release it anyway. Like they know that this thing is demonic, but they says, you know what, we can still put some safe fail mechanisms in there to make sure it doesn't turn against us. But when they ask the AI who's the threat on Earth, it says humanity. We got to wipe them out. Fail safe. Thank you, Keeper. All right, let's move on down. Things used for divination. Palantirs.
A Palantir enabled its user to see places far off or events in the past. A person could look into a Palantir to communicate with anyone looking into another.
So the
Palantir.
the technology can have access to all past events, all the histories, and it can quickly pull data from all the past, all the books around the world in whatever languages. This is why Google spent, because I was like trying to figure out, why is Google digitizing all these books? You can go to Google, type in a certain book, and it has digitized all these old books. Like it's digitizing every single piece of information. And brethren, they are building a one world system. Okay? So if they have access to the past, they can design a future. That's the whole thing. All right, let's read on.
They could then see visions of the things in the mind of the person looking into the other stone.
So while you're looking into the stone, it's looking into your brain. Scroll down, that's it. All right, let's close it out.
That's like transhumanism.
That's wickedness. So I don't know if you all are really seeing how this thing is coming together, but it is. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's continue on and we'll look at what's happening in today's time. What is Project Sunrise? So remember that in Trump's inner circle, he has a son-in-law. Well, there's a project called Project Sunrise. Okay, let's pull up number 10. It's really short. So while they are saying that they're fighting against Hamas, that's not really the plan. Hamas is trying to prevent them from snatching the property. Let's read this piece.
U.S. said to pitch Project Sunrise, a plan to rebuild Gaza as a luxury destination. Reported proposal drafted by top Trump officials Kushner and Witkoff to cost $112.1 billion over 10 years.
It's a lot of money.
Imagine new Rafah as seat of government.
New Rafah as seat of government.
Gaza City as high-tech smart city.
All right. So look at this picture. So all this is rubble. They're tearing down the whole place, but they have plans to build something up. And we already read this, so you don't have to read it again. Let's read the underlined part.
Initially, the U.S. would commit to anchor the program by providing $60 billion.
$60 billion is a lot of money. All right, I think that's probably it. Scroll down. Let's see. There goes him. Right. So if you notice that there's some more. These presidents always align themselves with these Ashkenazim people. They're always there, almost like a parasite in the brain to direct them, or to basically handlers. All right, this is interesting. Jared Kushner, accompanied by Kremlin economic envoy. Please remember that. Scroll up a little bit so we can see the face. See that? Kremlin envoy. So that's Russia, right? Scroll down. You'll see some connections. Don't worry. Don't worry, family. New Rafah will be the seat of governance for the Strip. That is the plan. Scroll down. See if there's anything else we want to read from that. So when you see certain things happen, don't think it's just a simple war trying to stop terrorism. It's a plan to cause the world to shift in a certain direction. Close that out. Let's go to our next. All right, family. So now we're going to move into some interesting things. So in order for you to move to get what you want, for the people to get what they want, you must have villains. But a lot of times, what we don't know or understand is that the villains that we see out there in the world, in many cases, are set up by the same people who want the outcome. Here's a little bit of that proof. Former Mossad Director Ephraim Halevi defends Israeli medical assistance to al-Nusra Front fighters. It's always useful to deal with your enemies in a humane way, Halevi told upfront host Mehdi Hassan. Halevi, who served as head of Israeli intelligence and head of Israel's National Security Council under Prime Minister Netanyahu, keep that in mind, Barak and Sharon denied that there would be any blowback against Israel for getting in bed with al-Nusra Front. He says, quote, "No, I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be blowback." So now, these people, for some reason, they don't show compassion to Palestinian children who they call enemies, but they are humane to a specific type of enemy. Let's find out who this al-Nusra Front really is. Okay? Nusra Front. Let's take a look at this. Let's pull up number 11. Brethren, you wouldn't believe it. Al-Nusra Front, this is from Wikipedia, is Al-Qaeda in Syria. Y'all see that? So the Israeli government is helping Al-Qaeda in Syria by giving them aid, but they use the cover of humanitarian with food. What is the job of the Al-Qaeda in Syria? Scroll down. The most aggressive, this is what Washington had to say, it's the most aggressive and successful of the rebel forces were founded on ending the decades-long reign of the Assad family. Remember Assad? So they were set up to remove Assad from there. Al-Nusra Front also sought the unification of Islamist forces in a post-Assad Syria, anticipating a new stage of civil war. In December 2012, the U.S. State Department designated it as a foreign terrorist organization. Do y'all see that? So this is Al-Qaeda. And I thought that Al-Qaeda was the enemy. That's what they told us. But I didn't know that Israel was supporting Al-Qaeda. So when Al-Qaeda does the dirty work for them, it's basically outsourcing the work. Remove Assad. Why do you think they need to remove Assad? Because they want Syria. And so they can still put the Al-Qaeda group to operate and run Syria because they run the Al-Qaeda group. Y'all see how it works?
Yeah.
Scroll on now. Let's see if there's anything else that we want from this. That's it. Okay,
Yeah.
you can close it out. So do y'all see how it works, family? Okay? Let's move on to our next. Strange power of the Chabad. Remember we talked about the Chabad? These are the real men in black. We're going to see the spiritual reach and world influence of the Chabad. Notice you see Netanyahu in his younger version, form right over here, going to the same Rebbe that they called the Messiah back in the day. This is the same gravesite. This is the same guy that died that they went to give respects by praying to the dead of this guy who's supposed to be the Messiah. On the bottom of the screen to the far left, you can see that Netanyahu has returned to the Chabad. Okay? Let's look at the video, and then you're going to see the reason why there's a Tibetan book of the living and the dying over here. So let's play video number 12. You said you had a cleaner copy of that, right?
Yeah, you want me to pull that one up?
If it's cleaner, is it the same length?
This one is 5 minutes. Yeah, hold on.
All right, if you got the cleaner version, let's pull it up because, brethren, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe it. That's shorter.
Okay.
Let's play the other one. Let's play the not so clean version. I want to hear the whole thing.
Okay.
Let's make it bigger. So this is a rabbi from Chabad, and let's listen to what's going. Let me set it up for you, right? Do y'all remember a few years back, I think it was, they found a bunch of tunnel rats in New York, right? They were digging from one synagogue, going through on underground and coming up, and they were the New York, I guess, health department or whatever it was. They came in and they found this hole, and they had to flush. They flushed a lot of people from under the ground. They found mattresses and all kinds of stuff, funny stuff, but you never hear
talk about it.
What was really going on. It's in Brooklyn, Brother Barry?
Yeah, Brooklyn.
All right, so Emmy says it was stained mattresses. Brethren, hold on to your seat. You're going to find out why the mattress were stained. Let's go ahead and play fair use. Listen carefully.
Too long. There was one more viral image going around, and this is the one everyone's been talking about. Is this, Dirk just pulled up on screen, stained mattress that was pulled out of the tunnel being carried by members of the synagogue. So there's a lot of crazy conspiracy theories. I don't want to go down any tasteless rabbit holes. But David, if you could explain, why was there a mattress in the tunnels and what is the stain? A lot of folks are wondering, is this stain feces?
No, it's not feces.
What
The
is
stain
it?
is blood, and basically we did rituals. I said that before. There were some rituals that-
Stop. The stain is from blood. We did rituals. Do y'all hear what I just said, or what he just said?
Yeah.
It's not feces, which is bad, but it's blood, which is even just as bad. We did rituals. Play on.
that we do in the tunnels, and sometimes the rituals might involve someone who recently died, and we'll bring them down.
Sometimes the rituals will involve somebody who recently died. So they'll take a dead body, go in the tunnels, and put the body on the mattress. Play on.
There, and we're trying to do a ritual to bring back the Messiah, which is
and do rituals to bring back the Messiah. They will use the dead bodies to bring back the Messiah.
Yes. That's what they do.
Notice this guy's wearing a hoodie or something saying "True Jew."
Yep.
Right? Play it back again one more time. Play it back again one more time. No,
in the tunnels.
Play it back from the beginning.
What is it about? Is this, Dirk just pulled up on screen, stained mattress that was pulled out of the tunnel being carried by members of the synagogue. So there's a lot of crazy conspiracy theories. I don't want to go down any tasteless rabbit holes. But David, if you could explain, why was there a mattress in the tunnels and what is the stain? A lot of folks are wondering, is this stain feces?
No, it's not feces.
What
the
is
stain
it?
is blood, and basically we did rituals. I said that before. There were some rituals that we do in the tunnels, and sometimes the rituals might involve someone who recently died, and we'll bring them down there, and we're trying to do a ritual to bring back the Messiah, which is a Schneerson. If you heard about him on the news.
Which is a Schneerson, the same guy who Trump went and said a prayer over his body. Benjamin Shapiro, and all those people pay respects. And Netanyahu, when he was went to meet him in the younger days, the guy told him, listen, you got to bring the Messiah back. You're not doing enough, Netanyahu, to bring the Messiah back. Remember that. And he says, I'm going to try to do the master. I'm going to try to do it. Brethren, they are performing rituals to bring back the Messiah, and the Messiah is not the Messiah of the Bible. It is that same dead rabbi by using other people's dead bodies. So they've been doing this every time a life is gone. They take a body down the stairs in the tunnels. This is why they do it underneath the ground, so people can't see the transportation of a dead body, a cadaver, from one building to the other. The Bible teaches that the place will be defiled. Anybody who operates a synagogue will know you cannot bring a dead body in a synagogue.
That's why it's in the tunnels.
That's why the Bible says, synagogue of what? Satan.
That's exactly what I was going to ask the Mishpachah in the chat. Do you think that these people are still the children of the living Elohim? Or are they the 2-9er, 3-9ers? I mean, look at it. Our people can still say, oh, no, these are the people of the book still.
Brethren, let's listen on some more. Play on.
So he died many years ago, but we have rituals that we believe we can bring him back.
Stop.
And so
he died many years ago, but we have rituals that we believe we can still bring him back. Play on.
So how do these rituals
Was that
work?
the main guy who was sort of instructing on the tunnels?
Well, that was a long time. He's like the head. He's the head rabbi, and he's
Right.
the guy that we look for direction.
Right, and the news was saying that he is potentially not passed on.
Right, that's right. So we don't know that, so we try to do rituals. To
Stop.
try to-
So they don't know if he passed on, but they buried a body. They don't know he's passed on, but they pray at a gravestone. Does that make any sense?
Yes, because that's code word to allow this ritual to happen. So when that false Messiah comes forth, they'll say, see, he was never dead. He was always here. So that's why they say it this way.
Bring him back.
Correct, exactly.
So how do these? Can you explain the rituals and why does it involve a mattress?
I don't want to go to the details of the rituals.
Stop. He doesn't want to go through the details of the ritual. Play on.
Basically, we don't put the body on the floor. We put the body on
Right.
the mattress. And sometimes we might make an incision somewhere on the body and some a little
Stop.
bit.
Sometimes they make an incision somewhere on the body. Play on.
The blood will come out.
And blood
But
will
I don't
come
want to
out.
go into the details.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, you mentioned when we talked on the phone that you brought a book with you.
Yes.
Is this?
Yes, this is the type of book I bought, and this is the type of book that describes different types of rituals and things of that nature.
So how does that? Like, can you explain the book?
Well, it's too detailed to go through the
Stop.
book.
The book is too detailed to go through. But this is the book that they use for the rituals. Play on.
Detailed book, but I suggest if you have a chance and you want to get the book, you can read it.
The Book of Living and Dying.
Yes, the Tibetan Book of Living
Stop.
and Dying.
Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. I have done a lot of classes about the doctrines of Eva. How a lot of our people have been dabbling into this Tibetan, talking about Jesus was married, how he went to Tibet and learned from the monks. He was in Egypt learning from this Babylon. He was picking up all of this knowledge. Brethren, this is where the stuff is coming from. So you got these Jewish people.
Jubus.
The Jubus. Thank you. The Jubus.
Because that's what Tibetan thing is.
The
Buddhist stuff.
Jubus who are using these books to resurrect people from the, well, in particular, they're using dead bodies along with this book to resurrect their Messiah from the dead. Yes, Sister Jocelyn, this is pure witchcraft. Necromancy and all the different things that was forbidden in the Torah. And yet, these are the same people that will come out during the daylight and ask you for a donation. Pray for the Jew. Support the Jubus.
Yes.
Right? Send a Jubu back home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, come as a tourist and walk the land that Jesus walked. But in the cover of night, down below in the crypt, they're moving dead bodies back and forth. But they position themselves into places of government to shut up the whole thing, so you don't know really what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the spiritual guides behind the political side of Zionism.
All the overlords, yep.
Again, remember the Kabbat is going to pull up again, family. Play on.
Where did you guys learn? You guys use this for the rituals. Is this an ancient Judaism thing?
No,
or?
we use some different books, and this is one of the books.
Stop. They use different books. This is one of the books, because the guy asked him, is this a book from ancient Judaism? He says, no. Let that sink in. Play on.
So how did you learn of this though?
Again, through other members.
Stop.
Okay.
He learned it through what? Other members.
The Jubus, yeah.
All right, play on.
And you don't want to get into the ritual at all? So you're laying someone, who are these bodies that you're putting on the mattress?
These are basically members of the synagogue who recently passed away.
The synagogues of Satan who passed away.
So recent members of the synagogue who passed away are taken through these tunnels, placed on these mattresses, bled out, rituals are done so they can bring back their rabbi. They're not trying to bring back the dead body there, that same person that died. They're trying to bring back their rabbi. Play on.
Oh. So they're dead.
Right, they're already dead.
Oh.
You missed that part, Tony?
I didn't know if there were people sacrificing their lives or
No,
something.
they're not sacrificing their lives. They died of natural causes or whatever.
Oh.
And before you bury them in a cemetery, you basically bring them down
Into the tunnel.
for a ritual. That's it. It's more like it's not something spoken about, okay? But you can understand, just like other religions or something. When someone dies, they might keep the body in a house for a
Yeah,
couple
you
days.
can do that. Yeah.
That's the same thing with Valhalla and how to put the coins in the eyes and pass them to the next world. That's kind of the same thing they're doing here too.
Play
Same
on.
idea. So it would be no different than some other religion keeping a dead body in the house for a couple of days. They all have different rituals.
Well, yeah. So the incision you mentioned, can you describe what's that? The purpose of that?
Well, like I just said before, it's just a ritual, and the incision is just part of the ritual, and hoping to bring back the Messiah. You see, here's I brought some notes.
Stop. I want to know if there's any verse in the Bible that speaks about taking a body. You shall taketh a body of an Israelite that has died, cut them open, bleed them on a mattress, so you could bring Messiah, Ben David, back from the dead.
It's part of the 13th tribe doctrine that you find after they come out of Exodus and they went into
Brethren, I told you all this is going to be very interesting tonight. I told you all. Yes, Ella, what's on your mind?
The Messiah is risen. He's not in the grave. So
This is why they cuss out our Messiah over and over and over, number one. Number two, the way that they are bringing up their Messiah is different from what the scriptures have outlined, right? Let's play on.
And if you want to really go through it, so that's the book we use. That's the book to bring people from the afterlife. Okay, so
stop. So the Bible is not the book of life to bring you from the afterlife, brethren. You must go to Tibet.
Yes, Rebbe.
And get an orange garment, wrap it around you, shave your head.
Don't forget the beads.
Put 6 dots on top of your head. Them big old bolo beads. Learn kung fu. Eat vegan.
You gotta get the nice smell of the incense.
Smoke all the incense in your nostrils. Stand on one leg. And say and hit a bell all day long.
Listen to the sound of the bowls. The sound of the bowls. So they can bring back the Messiah.
Brethren, let's play.
If you believe in that, I don't know if you believe in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay, so if you believe in the afterlife, then fine. Then you believe that many years ago in Egypt, there was a method to bring people back.
Stop. So now he leaving from Tibet to Egypt. Many years ago, there was a procedure in Egypt to bring the dead back. The Book of the Dead or whatever type of book that they were using. Brethren,
I think
this is the same people that connect to the presidency in America and other parts of the world. And I will show you. You think these men in black is just in a synagogue and they look the humble and brethren, it's much deeper than you think.
I think they have a tunnel connected to Egypt that runs from there to Israel, that comes around, and then they can travel back in time too.
Go ahead and play. Now, you think if a Hebrew was doing this, imagine a Hebrew in a Baptist church. You know, the one that goes back. Baptist church. A Baptist church. Or African, AME, African Methodist Episcopal Church.
Put a 1 in the chat if you want Rebbe to have these books so we can start looking into the afterlife.
That will be for the fire. I won't even don't waste your money. Give it to the brother over in the UK who needs the help. Let's play on. Let's play on, Brother Shay.
I know.
Egypt, there was a method to bring people back from the afterlife, and we're using that type of method. Okay? And the thing is, like, what do you call? The ritual itself, okay, is basically what we believe in is to bring that individual back. And we might read some verses from the book. You know, I'm speaking to you in general.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not giving it to you exactly, but those are some of the notes I have. You know, we said every person that dies in a ritual, we try to bring him back, the Messiah. Okay, we know the body is.
So every person is the Messiah.
That's a vampire system, because if the Messiah can't do the work for himself, why does he need the souls of other men that have passed on? The bodies are dead, number one. They're not even like a person is dying at that point, right? But the body's completely dead. And you're taking this body to bring back a Messiah to do what?
This is just like the golem practice that they're doing with Frankenstein.
Let's play on.
Soulless. We know it's, and so you
Once they die, yeah.
Right.
Do you shroud the body?
Do we shroud the body, like cover them up?
Yeah.
We'll cover them up, bringing it like yes, but won't be covered up entirely.
Fully. Oh,
Correct. Exactly. So that's it. So the blood, like I said, see in my notes here, it said the blood's from the incision made in a mattress, and we hope that the Messiah's spirit will come into that. That's what we hope for. Okay. We believe, like you said, you even brought it up, and you know that Anderson was the Messiah. We believe in him. He died many years ago, but you said he might be alive, which is possible. And if he's dead, we try to bring him back. If he's alive, let it be.
So Dirk pulled up here on screen a wiki article kind of explaining how a sect of Judaism, of the synagogue you go to, they actually believe Schneerson did not die, quote. So is it possible?
Right, some believe that. Here's the whole thing. Remember, within the synagogue, within the members, not everyone has the same exact belief.
Right.
Okay.
That's what they tell you. But they're all working together. So how come you don't have condemnation and exposure of these things? Play on.
Wait. In the synagogue, they don't all have the same belief. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody hear that.
So there is different levels of Judaism, and there are different levels of Christianity, and there are different levels of everything. So not everyone is considered like when you say Jewish. There were some very religious Jews, and some moderate Jews, so forth, and so not everyone has the same exact belief. Some believe that he's dead. Some believe he's alive.
Right.
So you're trying to bring him back with this ritual. Some believe he is back. Does that mean the ritual worked?
For those that believe that he came back, then it worked for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
For those that didn't believe, it didn't work for them.
Well, that's pretty amazing then. So you guys might have brought back the Messiah on Earth. He's living, the Messiah?
Anything is a possibility.
Magicians. Let's close it out. Let's go to our next slide. So you see the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. All right. It's an international bestseller. So we would have never known, brethren, because this stuff is always in the dark. It's always hidden. Let's move on. Actually, let's pull up the PDF 13 real quick. Okay, so this is just giving you a quick view of the book. The book explores the message of impairments, evolution, karma, and rebirth. Go down, let's see if there's anything else. And it's dealing with the Dalai Lama and all that nonsense. So you can close it out. All right, now let's move on, for time's sake. All right, family, remember Chabad? Russia's Chabad sitting down with Vladimir Putin. These men in black are everywhere. Y'all understand me? Putin is one of the top of the food chains people, right? Mm-hmm. To get an audience with him, you and I can't just walk up the street and say, hey, I want to go talk to Putin for a minute and ask him, hey, why you walk like with that gangster walk? Why you get that gangster walk when you're walking, right? You can't just say, excuse me, Ivan, can we go meet Putin? I want to ask him about the gangster walk. You can't just do that. You have to have some kind of a clout, power. And these guys have power and clout because they're involved in mysticism, witchcraft. You got to join this club. Brethren, that's why I keep saying to you all, many a times you got people who try to get, they're looking to chase that money, that bag. They want to try to become the next Oprah. They want to become the next Michael Jordan. You have no idea who's connected to all these people. Who put the Oprahs in office, in power, and the Michael Jordans and all that kind of stuff. You think he's just playing basketball and that's it? You can take any brother off the street at the park that can play good ball, and they will never make it. You want to know why? Because they will not make the deal. They will not sign that contract in blood. And if you want to get that money, you got to serve the devil. A lot of people who go into these entertainment industries, and when they start looking around in the room, they open the door and they start looking around and seeing what's happening. Says, no, you know what? That's it. This is my first and last movie. I'm done. And they will come out later on and says, listen, I really couldn't say much, but I'll just give you enough information so you can get your a decent understanding, right? I saw this, I saw that, and this is not for me. Right? Let's move on. Crime ministers. Bozo Ben-Gurion. Remember Ben-Gurion that we talked about earlier? Mm-hmm. The first clown of the Jubu state as landlords. Y'all remember Bozo, the clown? There's a picture of him there. How many of y'all remember Bozo? Y'all see him? Look at the clown Bozo. Look at Ben-Gurion. That's Bozo. Keep going down. What did David Ben-Gurion have to say? I want you all to listen carefully. These are excerpts from the thinking of this guy. First of all, he didn't believe in Elohim. He was an atheist.
All of them are.
Okay? Let's read. If
I were an Arab leader, I would never sign an agreement with Israel.
Y'all see that? Because he knows how wicked and conniving Israel really is. Read.
It is normal. We have taken their country. It is true God promised it to us, but how could that interest them? Our God is not theirs. There has been anti-Semitism, the Nazi, Hitler, Auschwitz, but was that their fault? They see but one thing. We have come and we have stolen their country. Why would they accept that?
Why would they accept that? So he's confessing that they're the ones who came and stole the country from them. This is why the people are fighting. This is why the Palestinians and the different Arabs are fighting against these people, because they says, if I was an Arab leader, I would never sign this agreement. Let's move on to another quote of him. Read.
Let us not ignore the truth among ourselves. Politically, we are the aggressors and they defend themselves.
Y'all see that? So he's confessing that the Palestinians are not the aggressors. They are the ones that are the aggressors. This is the first prime minister of Israel. Read on.
The country is theirs because they inhabit it. Whereas we want to come here and settle down, and in their view, we want to take away from them their country. Behind the terrorism by the Arabs is a movement which, though primitive, is not devoid of idealism and self-sacrifice.
All right, let's move on to our next quote from this prime minister.
We must do everything to ensure they, the Palestinians, never do return.
Palestinians
never do return.
Let's move on to our next.
We should prepare to go over to the offensive. Our aim is to smash Lebanon, Transjordan, and Syria. The weak point is Lebanon. For the Muslim regime is artificial and easy for us to undermine. We shall establish a Christian state there.
Who's the one that's going to establish a Christian state? The Israelis. This is why I told you that even when it comes to Al-Qaeda, they're the ones who have been setting a lot of these boogeymen up. So he's saying that these atheist Jewish Jubus are saying we're going to set up the churches over there. Go ahead.
But if and this is another red flag, Mishpachah. They are saying to stop the Christians over there, not the Jewish. All right, we shall establish a Christian state there, and then we will smash the Arab legion, eliminate Transjordan. Syria will fall to us. We then bomb and move on and take port, said Alexandria and Sinai.
So this is the plan, family. They introduced Christianity to help fight against the Arabs. This is how they work it. They invent the Al-Qaedas to fight against any government that they want to remove. They will align themselves, or they will fund it, or they will start it. Whatever it is, it's like a parasite. Let's move on to the next.
If I knew that it was possible to save all the children of Germany by transporting them to England, and only half by transferring them to the land of Israel, I would choose the latter.
Stop. Y'all see that? If you can save all the children of Germany, or only half to move them to Israel, save all the children to move them to England, or only half to bring them to Israel, he'd rather just move half of them to Israel. So they don't care about saving lives. They care about taking over the land of Israel. That's the goal. Because whoever controls Jerusalem controls the world. Mm-hmm. That's what the Bible says.
Yep.
And that's why the Messiah is going to rule from. Because when the Messiah rules from Jerusalem, he's going to rule over the world.
And we are Jerusalem.
Y'all understand this? Read on. 4.
For before us lies not only the numbers of these children, but the historical reckoning of the people of Israel.
Let's move on to the next. Let's see what Bozo have to say.
It's not a matter of maintaining the status quo. We have to create a dynamic state oriented towards expansion.
Oriented towards expansion. So we start here, and then we start moving out. Taking over more territories. And if we don't take over this territory, we'll control the territory by proxy. Meaning that we're going to set up our men or people. We're going to put them as a Nehemiah, a cupbearer. And the cupbearer will be giving the president of the country a little bit of juice, special juice. So every time he's drinking that cup of wine, he's been controlled. Y'all see what's going on. It's like the Epsteins and all those different IDF spies, you name it. Anyway, let's read the next quote. Every school
child knows that there is no such thing in history as a final arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
Not with regard to the regime, not with regard to borders, and not with regard to international agreements.
All right, let's move on. So even the international agreements, they don't stick to it. They break every contract because they're no different from the Americans who took over America, and the British and the French. They're all the same set of people. Okay, let's read. We walked
outside, Ben-Gurion accompanying us. Alon repeated his question, what is to be done with the Palestinian population? Ben-Gurion waved his hand in a gesture which said, drive them out.
All right, let's get the next piece, partition.
After the formation of a large army, in the wake of the establishment of the state.
So they're waiting to grow an army.
We will abolish partition. We will abolish partition and expand to the whole of Palestine.
Y'all see that? So what they're doing is that they're moving incrementally. They say, you can have your space over here. We're not going to trouble you. You can have your space over there. We're not going to trouble you. And as they grow and they have more military might, and then have more technologies, and they find themselves, then they start pushing. This is why we're seeing what we're seeing in the world today. They're waiting for the technologies, the blackmail, everything possible that they can be able to manipulate and take control. It's a plan, family. Go ahead and read the next quote.
The acceptance of partition does not commit us to renounce Transjordan. One does not demand from anybody to give up his vision. We shall accept a state in the boundaries fixed today.
You see that? They're going to accept it today. Read on.
But the boundaries of Zionist aspirations are the concerns of the Jewish people, and no external factor will be able to limit them.
So no matter what they say at the United Nations, no matter what any American president say, or anybody say about, listen, you guys got to work through a two-state solution, let the people have their rights to govern themselves, stay out of other people's business. They're basically saying, listen, we don't care about what y'all say. We're going to do what we want to do, period. Let's move on to our next.
27th July 1937, Ben-Gurion wrote in a letter to his 16-year-old son, Amos, "We have never wanted to dispose the Arabs, but because Britain is giving them part of the country which had been promised to us, it is fair that the Arabs in our state be transferred to the Arab portion. It is very possible that the Arabs of the neighboring countries will come to their aid against us, but our strength will exceed theirs, not only because we will be better organized and equipped, but because behind us there stands a still large force."
Still larger force.
Larger
But
force.
because behind us there stand a still larger force. Read on.
"Superior in quantity and quality. The whole younger generation of Jews from Europe and America."
So that's why they want to leave a lot of Jewish people in America and Europe and so forth, because those people are the ones who influence. They are the ones, like a parasite will multiply, and part of it will, stay in the government, different places, and they need to be there so they can keep pushing their agenda. Let's move on to the next.
On the 6th of February 1948, during a Mapai Party council, Ben-Gurion responded to a remark from a member of the audience that "we have no land there in the hills and mountains west of Jerusalem" by saying, quote, "the war will give us the land. The concept of ours and not ours are peace concepts only, and in war they lose their whole meaning."
This is why this explains why these people are always at war. Because when you try to work at peace, you'll never get the land. There's always going to be a negotiation to kind of hold you down. But when you're an aggressor, you can take the land, position yourself, and who's going to fight against you? He said, this is why he says, only and in war, they lose their whole meaning. The concept of us and them and theirs and ours, that only works during peace. But when we do wars, this is how we are able to control everything. Brethren, does it make sense now? Let's move on to the next piece. Ben-Gurion.
Ben-Gurion speaking to the Zionist Actions Committee on April 6, Ben-Gurion declared, "We will not be able to win the war if we do not, during the war, populate Upper and Lower Eastern and Western Galilee, the Negev and Jerusalem area. I believe that war will also bring in its wake a great change in the distribution of the Arab population."
See that? So as we remove, we fight, we remove, and we replace. This is why they send in the settlers. And the settlers will just move in and establish their little thing and burn people's property, steal their goats and sheep, cut down the olive trees,
and then when you go
take
to fight
over.
back and defend, they're going to bring the army in and say, "Oh, you're fighting against
You're anti-Semite. This is our land. Leave. Let's move to the next. All right, this is from Netanyahu.
"We are benefiting from one thing, and that is the attacks on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and the American struggle in Iraq. These events swung American public opinion in our favor."
Y'all see what he said? So think about it. If they are working with Al-Qaeda in Syria, Who's to say that they were not involved in other things? Let's read this quote right here.
If you could establish your empires and settler colonial nations through ethnic cleansing, massacres, and land theft, then it is discrimination to say that we cannot.
So this person is saying that, this is Naomi Klein. She's saying that if America can steal land from the American Indians or the Indians, right, indigenous people, you can't point fingers and judge us because you stole too. You stole, we stealing too. Mm-hmm. A thief is trying to tell a thief, you can't steal.
Yeah, excuse me.
Read on.
If you cleared your land of its indigenous inhabitants, then it is anti-Semitic to say that we cannot.
All right, let's read this piece from New York Times.
The Palestinians would be crushed like grasshoppers, heads smashed against the boulders and walls.
This is from Yitzhak Shamir, Prime Minister of Israel. Back in 1988, he's saying that their heads should be smashed against the walls. This is how they're thinking about human life. But the one with Netanyahu kind of stands out because we are benefiting from one thing. And there have been reports. Let's move on. There have been reports of it, they found Israeli men, I think it was 5 of them that was caught in a van with box cutters. They were celebrating and filming the destruction
the Twin Towers.
Of the Twin Towers, and they were reporting back to Israel, and they had Israeli passports. Mm-hmm. They were released from the FBI later on. Mm-hmm. All right, brethren, you all remember the movie Leave the World Behind? Yeah. Mm-hmm. The ice storm cometh, brethren. Civil unrest for a new world order. The things that are happening right now. Can you pull us to the side? Pull up Drudge Report real quick. Pull up the Drudge Report real quick. Just open it up bigger. Let's make it bigger. Thank you. I want you all to see today's news. Scroll down. So, you all remember the woman that was killed right in the open, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when you see these things happen, you might be upset to a certain degree. You see our people being killed in the streets by police, you see, and it's been ramped up a whole lot. What you don't understand is that there are people behind the scenes that are actually causing these things to happen. They're not doing it without a camera. Remember, the agent had a camera, his own phone, filming the thing, filming the whole thing, and then he executed the woman, right? And everything is caught on tape. From different angles, you can see what happened. They are deliberately trying to instigate a civil war in America by pushing real hard. Now they're saying ICE will go door to door. The agency declares wartime. Now they're going to be monitoring phones in entire neighborhoods. So now they have the right to just break through the door and snatch people. A lot of people have died so far. Mm-hmm. Go back up to the top. Let's see again. Right? Why was he holding cell phone while firing a gun? Okay. Let's go down. Let's go down. I just want you all to see like the headlines of what's happening. Mexico is on the table to be taken, right? Trump orders Secret Service probe into MTG. That's the woman who, what's her name again? Green. Tyler Green, whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. Because she was always pushing for Trump, right? She got him elected, Marjorie. She was pushing for him to get elected. And when he got in, and she started seeing all that he was doing, supporting Israel and doing some crazy stuff. Instead of America first, it was Israel first. She says, no, that's not what I signed up for. A lot of people are starting to get the wake-up call. Now he's threatening to take Mexico.
And Colombia.
I mean, just look at what's happening. Iran is in... Do you think Iran just all of a sudden you have all these protests out of the blue? Protests in Iran is the same thing that they're trying to do here. Go back up to the top. Right here. The fact that they execute people in broad daylight while people can see it, and it's not like just a guy that was fighting back or something like that, because if somebody's blocking the road, that's a traffic violation. You can give them a ticket for blocking the traffic. You don't have to shoot them. But by doing these things in public, right in the face of a person, it is trying to have a response. Now let's go back to the slide for time's sake, and we're going to show you why that is. All right? Y'all can look at Drudge Report later on. There's a movie called Leave the World Behind. And when you watch the movie, I don't know if you all remember the movie, but there's one small piece towards the end. It shows you a whole bunch of different things happen. Power was out some places. And the power was out in the city. Only in the city. You had flyers from Iran being dropped, flyers from North Korea being dropped, and all kinds of weird stuff was happening. But this is the part that needs to be looked at. This is a quote from Leave the World Behind.
Quote, the third stage will happen on its own.
Now, let me set this thing up. This guy that you see right here was an investor, or he handled money, investments with big people, right? And one of the people that he was dealing with was a government, a military contractor. And he told him something while he was, having extra drinks. He was intoxicated. And he says, first stage, second stage, but the third stage was mentioned to him, and this is what really frightened him. So let's read it again. The third stage.
The third stage will happen on its own. Coup d'etat.
Coup d'etat.
Coup d'etat. Civil war collapse.
So coup d'etat is a complete takeover of something else. The overthrow of government. A civil war. Read.
This program was considered the most cost-effective way to destabilize a country.
Stop. What about Iran right now?
They do it in all countries.
Why do you think they took out only Maduro from Venezuela? They're not going in to bomb the whole of Venezuela like that. They took out the head because they know there were other people that will create chaos in the street. Because as soon as Maduro was taken out, there were gunmen in the street shooting other people and stuff. They want to trigger civil war in Venezuela because it's the cheapest way to destabilize a country. Now, Maduro cussed out Netanyahu the other day. I don't know if you all remember that. Maduro said that he is a true Jew. He's a true Israelite. And more than likely, he's right. Read on.
Because if the target nation was dysfunctional enough, it would do the work for you.
It will do the work for you. So is this true? Let's find out if this is true. Let's move on. The following is a letter that speculation claimed that Albert Pike wrote to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871 regarding a conspiracy involving 3 world wars that were planned in an attempt to take over the world. Let's read.
The First World War must be brought about in order to permeate the Illuminati to overthrow.
To permit the Illuminati to overthrow
the power of the Khazars.
The Tsars.
In Russia, and of making the country a fortress of
atheistic communism.
Atheistic, yeah.
That's not believing in God, right? Communists. Yeah. Read on.
The divergences caused by the
agenter
or agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions.
Let's move on to the next.
The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascist and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so the Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine.
Now, this is what's happened, already happened, right? Read on.
During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social catechism.
Now, remember we saw that Ben-Gurion says they want to set up Christians in Syria. So that was a testing ground. That's the same plan that is implemented on a worldwide scale. So they are using Christianity for its reasons, its purposes, right? Keep it going.
The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agenda of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and the political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion.
That's civil war. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided. That's civil war. On this issue, you got people fighting with ideology, and we're going to see that in a moment. On this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. People are tired of all the wars. This is why they vote Trump in. They're tired of certain things in government. But it seems like the more they put certain people who wave the peace flag, the more demonic these people are. Whether it's in the UK, Europe, no matter where you are in the world. Let's move on.
I want to highlight something real quick. And Mr. McCall, notice the date, 1871. Okay? What year are we in right now according to the heathen? 2026.
All right. We shall unleash the nihilist.
We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social catalysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil.
That is social upheaval. Social media was designed, brethren, to activate civil wars. You have the YouTubes, you have the different things where people are going back and forth. Look at the Charlie Kirk situation, how it's moving. Look at all the other things. Now, on top of that thing, you have this woman being shot. That's building another conversation. That's on the left, because remember, this is a sodomite woman who had children that was killed. So that's a left. That's from the left side. Charlie Kirk on the right. This woman on the left. Two people that were executed in public. So now you're going to have this things that is, brethren, I'm trying my best to explain it as best as possible, but I'm telling you, prepare yourselves for what's coming up. Go ahead and read.
Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal.
All right, so basically chop the head off and people are going to be disillusioned. They're going to be headless, no type of direction, okay?
But without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer brought finally out in the public view.
Y'all see that? This is the Baphomet will be revealed. This is why they had Child's End show, where the demon came out. The demon came on a spaceship. Why do you think all of these things are happening, and all of a sudden they're talking about spaceships and UFOs? They're getting ready for something. All right, this manifestation.
This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time.
All right, let's move on to our next slide. Now, this gets pretty interesting. This person is called Alexander Dugin. Alexander Dugin. He was born in the January 7th, 1962 in Moscow into a family of spies. Okay, spies. Alexander Dugin envisions a multipolar world order, a stark contrast to the US-led globalization, divided into distinct powerful civilizations, which are poles, like Eurasia, led by Russia, Atlantic, which is the US and the West, right? Islamic and Sinic Chinese, replacing nation states with large spaces based on shared traditions, all in struggle against the decadent West, requiring Russia to build a Eurasian empire through strategic alliances and conflict to counter American hegemony and spread a unique Russian soul. So let me explain what this is. There is this ideology, which we're not going to have time to go through right now for time's sake, where the world is supposed to be divided into zones. This is why Greenland and Canada and South America is important for the Americas. We looked at the video some time ago in class where the guy with the maps is showing that with the slave trade, the Europeans divided up the land, the places where you can operate as a slave holder. You had Brazil and everything in between here. You had Africa over here. You had, you know what I mean? They had the place divided up. They're doing the same thing again. Colonialism has never stopped. It never ended. Slavery has never ended. Okay? Let's look at number 14 video. Fair use once again, so we can get a little glimpse of this Putin's brain. This guy is called Putin's brain. Fair use. Fair use.
You write in your most recent book that Putinism has won in the United States. What do you mean by that?
I think that now we assist a huge transformation of the global system. Trump, in my opinion, is something very special. It is not just a charismatic leader, but he represents a kind of ideology that changes the balance of the power in the world. So we have the different United States, not the stronghold and the headquarter of globalism, but the kind of sovereign national state, global power with traditional values as well, with totally different agenda on the international affair. And in these new conditions, I think that Putin's Russia and Putin personally stops to be the main enemy, the main evil guy, bad guy.
So Putin will no longer be the evil guy. And basically what they're talking about, these men sat down together. Remember that Putin and Trump met in Russia, Alaska. Remember that, right? At the summit. They were coming together to discuss who's going to get the pie. Right? How are we gonna slice the pie up? So they're gonna take. Believe me, Ukraine is gonna go back.
Yep, Russia go back to Ukraine,
and they are talking about allowing, like Finland, a whole lot of Europe is gonna be controlled by Russia. America's gonna get Greenland, Canada, and everybody else on the other side. China's gonna have the other group on the other side. Israel is going to be involved in all of this stuff. They're all going to start shifting based upon certain shared values. Play on.
So I think that Trumpists and the followers of Trump will understand much better what Russia is, who Putin is, and the motivation of our politics. So we have now immediately we have discovered many points that are common for United States of America, Trump's America, and Putin's Russia.
Would it be fair to say is what you're saying is that there is now a kind of deep ideological alignment between Trump and Trumpism and Putinism, and it is against Europe. The United States and Russia, in that sense, are now together, and European liberalism, is in some sense the new enemy.
We have many points in common with Trump's America, much more than it seems on the surface. But maybe it is too early to speak about the real alliance between U.S. and Russia against Europe, because it is not against Europe, it is against globalism. But nevertheless, I think that if, for example, Trump would withdraw United States from the war against us in Ukraine, there could be a situation that we will fight against European globalists, European liberals in Ukraine without America. So I think that Trump, sooner or later, and maybe sooner than we presume, he will discover that Putin has absolutely nothing against United States, no reason to continue the fight, no reason to oppose or to no field of competition that is different from China.
You can stop it there. Let's go back to our slides, and we're going to scroll through. We're going to skip the next slide and just go to the other one. So is this stuff happening now? Family, when you look at it, it is happening now. This is a map that this guy established here, and he kind of showed some things. I haven't done the research into the color scheme that he have, but there's an alliance. For example, India, if you can put the cursor where it says India, it says a Russian ally. Iran, Russian ally. Vietnam, Russian ally. You have Japan will be a Russian ally. Of course, China is. Moscow, look at this. Moscow is called the third Rome. Y'all see that? This is this guy's New World Order map. Russia is called the third Rome. See, this whole area. And notice how it has gone all the way into, Greece and this places over here?
Turkey area.
Right? The UK is divided and in turmoil. France and Germany will be eventually taken over by Russia. Turkey is divided. The South Pacific will be conquered by Japan or divided with China. Then you have this light green space, the same color with Africa, the same color with South America and Central America. And all of that is going to be under the West, basically, or something along those lines. They're working on these plans, right? So I want you all to just do your homework, go investigate a little bit more, and see what comes out of it. Let's move on to our next. So let's dig a little bit deeper into this guy. Again, the key players is Russia, right? They're going to be controlling Eurasia. You got the West is going to control the whole Atlantic area. Islamic world is going to have their own because of shared values, right? China is going to have their own place because of their values. The world is going to be divided up into zones. Let's move on. The way that they're going to do it is using what? Disinformation. This is from this guy. This is what he's saying. Using disinformation. That creates civil war.
Mm-hmm. Stable.
Rebuilding Russian power, reclaiming lost territories like Ukraine. They're going to have a cultural war. That's what's happening now with social media. A battle for minds. Why do you think that Israel is paying a lot of money for social media warriors? I'm watching YouTube and all of a sudden things just pop up on the screen about supporting Israel. Let's move on to our next slide because the time is going real fast. All right, so let's look at this guy. That guy who's Putin's brain. Right here. Let's look at his background. A Satanist shaping the world order. Let us look into his background. Read.
In 1980, Dugin joined the Uzinski Circle. An avant-garde dissident group which dabbled in Satanism, esoteric Nazism, and other forms of the occult.
Stop. Remember, this guy is Putin's what? Brain. That's what they call him. That's what he's known as. He works with Putin. And this guy came from a satanic background. Y'all see that? We saw the Chabad, who's working with Netanyahu and Trump, also has a satanic background. Read on.
The Uzinski Circle gained a reputation for Satanism, for seances, a devotion to all things esoteric, mysticism, hypnotism, Ouija boards, Sufism, trances, pentagrams, and so forth.
Y'all see that? That's the Uzinski Circle right here. So this is the guy that is writing policy
for Russia.
Okay, policies, not just for Russia. Scroll on, go to the next. The prophet of the new Russian Empire. In order to block Atlantica's cancerous influence from spreading, claims Dugin, Russia must reassert its dominance and power. He's talking about annexing places like the Balkans, Tibet, and Mongolia. Mongolia again, right? Mongolia. He advocates a network of strategic alliances with powerful neighbors. Unlike his predecessors in the Eurasian movement, he sees continental Europe as a potential ally, especially who? Germany. Because remember, he was dabbling into Nazism. Looking east, he identifies Japan as a bulwark against the growing power of China, which he views as Russia's chief rival for dominance of Eurasia. To the south, Dugin looks mainly to Iran. He has high praise for the Shia theocracy, which has bravely resisted the Americans and supports its plan to obtain nuclear weapons. He even identifies Israel as a potential member of the Eurasian coalition alongside the Arab countries, provided it severs its ties with its American patron. Let's move on. Dugin at the international conference New Horizon in May 2018. Look, he's right over here, Putin's brain over here. And guess who's there in Iran also? The same people who were talking about anti-Semitism is a bunch of nonsense, and the Messiah is going to
come from bloody.
Messiah is only the one to bring us back to Israel. You see the double speak? Yeah. Y'all see this nonsense? So this rabbi here supports Iran and the Palestinians, and he's working along with Putin's brain over here. Brethren, when you start to shake that tree, you're going to get dizzy. Let's move on. Putin's brain also endorsed who? Donald Trump. Y'all see that? Putinism has triumphed in the United States and advocating for Russian victory in the Russo-Ukrainian war. He also said that one of the ideologues of Trumpism, Curtis Yarvin, has declared that it's time to establish a monarchy. It's time to establish a monarchy in the United States. What is a monarchy, Mishpachah? Do you know that they're pushing for Trump's son Barron to marry the Danish princess? Wow. Do you know there was a book called Baron Trump?
It's all part of the
From
plan.
I think it's like the 1800s or something. Before Trump was even born. Yeah. Yes. Brethren, this stuff is, I mean, the only ones who can come up with this kind of stuff is the devil himself. The devil himself, brethren. Let me see if I can do something here real quick while Brother Shea walked away. Let's go back here. Y'all have no idea how deep this stuff is. Y'all have no idea how, look at right here. So they're talking about making Trump King Trump. But how do you do that? A pitch to marry Baron Trump and Princess of Denmark goes viral. Look at it. Young Trump. Y'all see that? Talking about a dowry to get Greenland. Uh-oh, can't get that out the way. So they know exactly what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to accomplish. And look at it. Trump will offer $1,000 to every Greenlander. Every Greenlander. Yep. He says, either we're gonna pay you out or we're gonna take over.
Take the money and run.
If you notice that they followed a ship that was in the hands of the Russians all the way right outside of Greenland area, by Iceland, Greenland area. They did that they could have captured that ship in the Caribbean. The ship came from Iran, protected by a Soviet sub, and it went by Venezuela area, then it moved up right close to between Greenland and Iceland, that area over there. It's not an accident. They're trying to set things up to create chaos worldwide. Let's close that out. Let's go back to our slides for time's sake. We just got a few minutes. Let's move on to our next slide. And brethren, guess what? Africa is also on the list. If you think you can run and hide somewhere in Africa, look at the picture. 2023. Y'all see the picture? With that said, family, I want you all to really take some time and digest all that I put on the table, because there's going to be more to come. When the Bible says in Ephesians 6 that we are not wrestling against flesh and blood, all you have to do is look at the people behind the scenes. You might be looking at Trump, but you don't see the people and what they believe and who they're connected with and who's advising who and whatnot. Those people are the strings. And then there's the puppet master on the top, pulling the strings. And when they pull the strings, then the puppet reacts. I hope that you all have learned something tonight. Everybody, watching the foolishness out there, I'm trying to show you all the real geopolitics that's going to get us exactly where the Bible says that we're going to be. And they are planning to disassemble society with civil unrest. They're trying that thing in the UK, in Europe. Right now, Iran is burning. They're trying that in Venezuela. They're going to try it every place, because if you can cause the people to rise up against the government, then all they have to do is just swoop right in. That's why that movie that you see all the stuff is making you look at, I don't know what's going on with my phone. I can't get a call. I don't know what's going on with this. Have you heard anything? But that one line is really what you got to focus on in the movie. And then you had the movie Civil War, where the reporters were being killed. What's going on in Gaza where the reporters being killed? What's happening here in America where the censorship is happening? First, they kill you by censoring you, right? Kill your speech, and then it goes further than that.
Yeah, they have to remove that constitution because they have to get rid of the free speech and right to bear arms. That's what they're working on.
And people who have those EV cars, they showed in the movie that all the cars clogged up the highway. When they did that, when all the cars returned back and blocked the highway, because they have a GPS system built into it to auto drive, and it blocked up, it caused a traffic jam. You can't travel. All those roads are blocked up. So you can't travel outside the city, and then they swooped in with the helicopters and the bombs, and everybody's trapped and blow everybody up in the city. Y'all want to stay in the city? All I can say is shalom. Told you all already, it's coming. It's coming. So with that said, thank you, Brother Shay. Thank you all. And better keep your old truck. If you have an old truck, you better keep it up.
That's right.
If you don't have an old truck, you better be close to somebody who have one.
Better find one.
Because y'all going to have to be close with that person who have one. All right? All right, family, we're going to wrap it up tonight. And again, remember the brother who is in need. I will remind you all on Shabbat again. Look forward to seeing you all then. And Brother Shay will be teaching you all this Shabbat, most high willing. So with that said, Ella's going to close out with prayer. And then we're going to say shalom.
Hallelujah. All praises. Interesting class. I hope we will learn a lot tonight. Heavenly Father, we want to give you thanks and praise for sparing our lives, continually protecting us. We thank you for our teacher, our reader, Brother Yana, Brother O'Shea, as they bring the words and the news and put everything together, Father, that we should understand. I pray that thou will help all of us to understand. Bless us, bless our teacher and our reader, and bless us all tonight. Remember the brothers and everything that was said. We ask you to be with us and help us to have a wonderful night rest, because we ask it all. Through your Son, Yeshua, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let the words of our mouth, the meditation of our hearts, be acceptable in your sight. O Abba, who is our strength and our Redeemer.
Love you all. Stay strong, stay sharp. Until next time, we say
Trigger tsunami and let sickness danger